Ben Nahn and Parker Wheeler here, bringing you another edition of Cats Wrap. The Wildcats had 6 home games this past weekend. They went 6-0. Let's take a look at all the records and scores from this past weekend. The volleyball team, they won 3-0 and now have a record of 9-7 on the season, while the women's soccer team had an explosive 6-0 win and are now 3-5-3, including 1-0 in America East. The field hockey team is now 4-5 with a 2-1 win to open up conference play against UMass Lowell. The men's soccer team remains undefeated with a 6-0-2 record with a 1-1 tie at Columbia, and football is now 2-2 with a 57-14 victory over CCSU last weekend.
The Wildcats dominated Central Connecticut State University 57-14 this past weekend in their home opener from the Dungeon. Led by Adam Reese's 3 touchdowns and a couple big plays from the defense, the Wildcats took care of business in their home opener from the Dungeon. Taking a look at some of the highlights now. We look at the start of the first quarter, the first touchdown of the game. Adam Reese with a play-action fake down the sideline for Amici Walker for a 37-yard touchdown pass to get the Wildcats on the board. Then moving from there, Dalton Crossan, who's been having a great year, a big run down the sideline to put the Wildcats really up in front, and they didn't look back from that point of view. And then the biggest play to defense coming up large here. Ryan Farrell with the 15-yard fumble recovery, bringing it to the house for the Wildcats to go up big, 39-7. And at the end of the half, Adam Reese finding Jordan Powell for a big touchdown there. The Wildcats kept it going from the start and to the finish. They dominated Central Connecticut State University 57-14 and now move to 2-2 on the season. Parker, I feel as if the Wildcats needed this win to solidify their depth at the quarterback position, even with starter Sean Goldrich out. I felt Adam Reese played well, and then Trevor Knight getting his first collegiate touchdown. From top to bottom, the Wildcats were the better team, and I think they just love playing at the Dungeon. You're
absolutely right. You could see they're much more comfortable at home, ready to play this game. With 2 early losses on the season, they needed to start to prove themselves. Obviously, it's still a long way to go in the year, but this is a good first step, and you can see it's all starting to click together here for the Wildcats. Now let's take a look at their upcoming schedule. Don't forget, it's the homecoming game this weekend, the 3rd versus Elon at 3:30. That game is sold out. And then they have a bye week after that before they head to play William & Mary on the 17th at 12 p.m. They then play on the 24th at Delaware at 3:30 p.m. And then to finish off October on Halloween, the 31st, they'll play Rhode Island at home at 1 p.m. UNH Field Hockey had 2 games this weekend. We'll give you the scoop later on in the show. The UNH volleyball team had an exciting first match in conference play as they squared off against the Hartford Hawks. They dominated play all game long. They ended up with a sweep of the Hawks, 3-0. It was complete Wildcats. Now let's take a look at the highlights. UNH left no doubt early on that they were the back-to-back champs as they handled Hartford in the first set by a score of 25-12 and were in full control the entire time. They allowed only 31 points through the entire 3-set match, also recording a season-high 14 aces. They've now won 10 straight America East regular season matches and 12, including the tournament last year. So, Ben, this team is just far beyond exciting to watch right now. Back-to-back champs, and they continue to roll as they start off play here. Obviously, Hartford, a team that's struggling coming into play, but they were able to dominate all the way through.
Yeah, Hartford was a little bit out of UNH's league, but I felt the Wildcats still had to get business done. And, man, it was a quick one, and they just dominated, led by Demi Muse's 7 kills. The Wildcats were just too overpowerful of a match for Hartford, and I think it's the right step moving into conference play now, where they do have a target on their back, but if they play like this, no one's going to catch them.
Yeah, the target on their back, they're used to that. They're used to feeling like that in America East play, but we'll see how it continues on the rest of the season. Now let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the volleyball team.
Yeah, Parker, the Wildcats will travel to Albany to take on the Great Danes October 2nd at 7 p.m., and then another back-to-back road game taking on Binghamton at 1 p.m., and then they come home to take on Massachusetts Lowell on October 11th at 1 p.m.
The UNH women's soccer team opened up conference play this weekend against the Binghamton Bearcats, and they had quite the game for themselves. Let's take a look at the highlights. Starting it off early on in the game, it was Caroline Murray on the near side who was able to find the net on the far side post and bury one to make it a 1-0 game for the Wildcats. Quickly after that, it was Brooke Murphy who made it a 2-0 game on a penalty kick, and she wasn't done there. Right after the Wildcats had scored 2 goals in 10 minutes, Murphy scored her second goal of the day to make it 3-0. Moving on to the second half now, where the Wildcats had that 3-0 lead. Sloan scores her goal and makes it 4-0 here for UNH. They continue to pour it on from there as Dorsey, scores her first career goal there, putting it into the back of the net, and to make it 6-0 here at the end. Prince also scores her first goal for the Wildcats. It was a game that the Wildcats would love to continue to, bring up over and over and over again, as they just dominated early on here in conference play, and they'd love to continue that as the season continues.
6 goals is 6 goals. You don't see that often from the Wildcats, but I'm glad they finally broke through, especially against a conference opponent. This is definitely something to build off of moving forward. Remember, they are the defending America East champs. People got to remember that. Other teams are out to get them, so this is good. It's great to see Murphy finally getting a couple goals there. Murray, and then newcomers like Prince and Dorsey is huge. Sky's the limit for the Wildcats this year.
Absolutely. They scored 7 goals before coming into this season. So they scored 6 in this one game, definitely building off something. Let's take a look at the upcoming games here for the Wildcats.
The Wildcats will travel to UVM to take on the Catamounts the 1st of October. That game's at 3 p.m. Then moving forward, they have a couple games back at home. One against the University of Albany on the 4th at 2 p.m. and then taking on the University of Massachusetts Lowell at Cowell Stadium at 7 p.m.
Now let's take a look at this week's Wildcat trivia question.
Yeah, Parker, this week's trivia question. How many consecutive weeks has the football team been ranked in the top 25 of the FCS? Tweet your answers at CatsRapUNH, and you might be considered the winner for next week.
The field hockey team had 2 games this weekend. They opened up conference play on Saturday, but first they had a game against Providence Friday night. Let's take a look at the highlights.
The Friars came into Durham, New Hampshire looking to take down the Wildcats in non-conference play. This one remained scoreless throughout most of the first half until Lindsey Nurbon chipped one past the Providence goalie to put up the Wildcats 1-0. It was chip and chase after that, and Melissa Rise, making some big saves for the Wildcats, keeping them scoreless throughout the first half. And then in the second half, Gianna Bensea came up with a big goal to put the Wildcats up 2-0 as the Wildcats won over Providence College 2-1.
UNH was really able to dictate quite a bit of the game. They came out strong, like you said, got the goal in the first half, added on to it, made it 2-0. Providence did make it a game, made it 2-1, and the UNH had to hang on, but they knew they were playing back-to-backs, a Friday night and a Saturday night. So they did get some fresh legs in there. They were able to get some extra people in the lineup that maybe they wouldn't normally throw in for so long. They did a good job, especially defensively, keeping Providence tame, and were able to really roll through it quite a bit. And in the end, getting the 2-1 win before they head into conference play.
Absolutely, big win, and I felt Melissa Rise looked very comfortable in that. Lindsey Nurbon's been on a tear throughout most of the season. I think everything's gelling together for the Wildcats, especially moving into conference play.
Our own Becca Walsh spoke with Lindsey Nurbon after the game.
How does it feel to be the new leading goal scorer?
It feels pretty good. My teammates have been giving me awesome balls. Taylor Rideout gave me an incredible ball today for that opportunity. And the strokes in the UMass game, that was created by my other teammates, those opportunities. So I'm thankful to have everyone around me.
And can you walk us through the goal that you scored today?
I don't know. I got a great ball from Taylor, and then I saw the goalie coming out at me quickly, so I just pulled to my left and quick took a shot. We practiced that a lot in practice, just taking quick shots in the circle. So
yeah, it was a great goal. And so playing back-to-back games, UMass Lowell tomorrow, how do you plan on getting the win?
We just have to come out and kind of stick to our game plan. We know UMass Lowell is pretty scrappy and tough on the ball, so we just got to work on our game plan, slow it down, just be confident.
All right. Well, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
But let's take a look at the upcoming schedule here for the field hockey team after they started off conference play on Saturday.
The Wildcats will travel to Albany to take on the Great Danes on the 4th at 1 p.m. and then they come back home for 2 games, one against Vermont on the 9th at 4 p.m. and then they end up with BC at 3 p.m. on the 11th.
Don't forget to tune into the next episode of Cats Rap. We'll catch you up on everything going on in Wildcat Country.
And make sure you follow us on Twitter at CatsRapUNH, where you can tweet in your answers to the trivia question.
For Ben Nahn and the entire production crew, my name is Parker Wheeler. Thank you all for tuning in this week. Have a great week, Wildcats.